So, where exactly is this stuckness coming from? It's because it's not just workplace tension anymore. For millennials, this has become a bit of an identity tension. We were told to be high achieving, super purpose driven, emotionally intelligent, reach for the stars, like literally all the stars, and do it quickly with momentum and not missing a beat. This tension makes many a millennial question, am I making an impact or am I just surviving? Let's talk about the newly stuck generation, the millennials, of which I'm a part of. We've been told at one point that you can be anything, but now it seems like we're stuck with everything. We are in the middle of managing Gen Z and supporting them and also trying to block the hits that they're getting from some of the older generations. But we're also managing up to Gen X and still trying to prove ourselves to them. So we're balancing leadership, legacy, life, work life integration, and all those things. But we're still kind of getting blamed for everything from killing the 9 to 5 culture to napkins or toilet paper, anything and everything. It's been feeling a little bit exhausting for us to try to bridge the gap between tradition and transformation. I really think millennials are the glue that help to hold everything together, but I mean, even glue can crack under pressure. So if that's you, or if you're that millennial who's feeling like you're holding everything together, let's unpack this a little bit to start leading from the middle with power without cracking in the process. Welcome back to the Upwardly Paved Path, where I coach ambitious professionals on how to rise, lead, and thrive without killing themselves in the process, especially across generations. Today, we're going to be talking about the millennial middle. To give you a little bit of perspective about millennials and how we view the world, you got to remember that we entered the workforce in the midst of the housing market crash. So that shapes how we move and how we look at things. So we went from analog and dial up to a very increasingly fast paced digital transformation from which many of us are still trying to catch our breath or conceptualize or hold on to while things are constantly changing. And it's like gripping water going through our hands. Now we're managing Gen Z who want freedom and purpose while answering to Gen X who want structure and performance. It's kind of like being fluent in two different languages, but not being understood in either. So the millennials have become the emotional middle managers of the workplace, mediating and translating, motivating, and we're starting to get a little bit lost in the process. Now, it's not unusual for millennials to be juggling different things. In fact, most millennials I know got at least 2 or 3 jobs or 2 or 3 side hustles. That's just our jam. But there is a hidden pressure of being in this middle space. This constant balancing act creates a unique kind of burnout because we're balancing mentoring, managing, supporting with proving, supporting, and challenging when necessary. We're also balancing championing work life balance, which became work life integration, and then answering emails until the wee hours of the morning. Then there is really spearheading innovation, which we're kind of tasked with doing. But then we're managing systems that are not catching up fast enough. This invisible pressure that millennials are feeling to modernize without breaking systems while being compassionate and not losing authority, after a while, if you don't get a hold of it, if you don't get the right input, advice, guidance, rest, then we become a shell of ourselves or really, really cranky. So, where exactly is this stuckness coming from? It's because it's not just workplace tension anymore. For millennials, this has become a bit of an identity tension. We were told to be high achieving, super purpose driven, emotionally intelligent, reach for the stars, like literally all the stars, and do it quickly with momentum and not missing a beat. But when our systems reward hierarchy over humanity, it's easy to feel stuck between doing what's right and then doing what's required. This tension makes many a millennial question, am I making an impact or am I just surviving? And I get it. Right now in 2025, most people, even if it's just mentally, are just surviving. But it was literally built into our DNA to have impact, 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 thrive, thrive, thrive. And when that's not happening, yes, of course we're going to feel stuck. So, millennials, what can we do about this, if anything? We've got to learn how to powerfully lead from the middle without losing ourselves in the process or without accepting defeat and just disappearing into the background. You start this by reframing influence. A lot of us get really stuck on titles, and I get it. We got the degrees and the debt to go with it. And so that title feels like it's some kind of ROI. But right now, that's not your problem. You've got to see influence in conversations and decisions and being the example of balance that you like to see in your culture and in your world. So that whole be the change you want to see, yes, but it's in balance. Help to create balance, even if it's silently. So your influence has got to be really intentional and not loud. Next, and I've already mentioned this dichotomy of leading up and leading down, but the best way you can do that is with my favorite word, which is empathy. Gen X values results, Gen Z values authenticity. You can bridge those by connecting the why to the what. You're the translator of performance and purpose. And the last thing that you got to make sure you do is protect your capacity and your emotional bandwidth. So, a little of this, we got to borrow a page out of the Gen Z book, even though they're very militant about that. And I don't know if they have quite yet discerned the places and spaces to implement that. But you have got to protect the capacity that you have. We are so used to grind that we have ground ourselves into the ground. But we've got to learn how to lead with wisdom and not exhaustion. And the only way to do that is to not let yourself be exhausted. Also, a lot of us have just consumed a lot of information, especially in the academic standpoint. Wisdom comes from stopping and observing. So add on to the knowledge you already have with the experience with you have with sometimes shutting up. My millennial friends, you are not meant to just survive and stay stuck in the middle. You are in a unique position to really lead it. So don't focus on being stuck, focus on being strategic. And for those of you who are in that space of managing and just existing between Gen X and Gen Z, I'd love if you drop in the comments what your experience is and what your biggest challenge in this space is right now. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share it with other millennials who are feeling this generational squeeze. All right, thanks for joining me. And remember that leadership isn't about choosing sides, it's about building bridges. So I just encourage you to go out there and build some bridges today. All right, and I'll see you in the next video.